meeting
Whoa.
for Tuesday, June 15th. Janelle, would you handle roll call, please?
Husky,
Here?
Baker,
Here.
Bell,
Here.
Bertle,
Here.
Duffy,
Here.
Peduncle,
Here.
and Nino.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Bo, have you got the flag ready for screen sharing, or are we just going to envision a flag this evening?
Let's just envision a flag because I don't
All
have.
right, so we'll envision a flag and stand up. For those who want to join in reciting the pledge, we'll start on 3. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as published?
I
Pending
have
any-
something on page 5 that I would like to add.
Okay, go ahead,
It
Denise.
is under agenda item number 6. And it talked about Lars Johnson on line 36. Lars Johnson of Al Johnson Swedish Restaurant has expressed interest in acquiring that license that is now held by Pebble Beach Resorts. I think it should state that he is one of several people who are interested in that license. There have been multiple requests.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Before we go to a motion to approve, does anyone else have any comments or corrections on minutes? I would reference one on page 10 of the packet. From lines 3 and 4, the committee reports, the administrative committee. As it reads now, it says Bernhoff and Zashki have been working on revising, updating the job descriptions for all village employees. That should say Bernhoff and Zashki have been working on reviewing the job descriptions for all village employees and making revisions as necessary.
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
One more thing, page 10, line 10, that's the USDA, not the FDA, unless I'm mistaken, Bo.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
You're correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Pat, you were getting ready there to.
Yep, make a motion to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Comments, correspondence, and concerns from the public before we have Janelle reference anything we received via email or postal mail or drop off at the village office. Does anyone from the public participating in the meeting this evening have a comment they would like to make regarding a non-agenda item? Okay, thank you. Janelle, can you update us on correspondence, please?
Okay, the 2021 first quarter report for the program that's entitled Care for Door County, which was initiated by Destination Door County, was included in the packets. It's kind of a lengthy document, but if anyone wants to see it, it's in the digital packet. There also was an email that was received from Bjorn Johnson. And in his email, Mr. Johnson states that he's interested in serving as a member or as a member, then as an alternate member of the village's zoning board of appeals.
I think you meant to say that that was the Door County Economic Development, not destination Door County.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Nate, for clarifying that.
So it's of DC EDC?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct. Okay,
Rob,
yes, Denise, sorry. Go ahead.
does Bjorn live in the village?
Yes.
He lives in the village. He's purchased a condo at the yacht club at Sister Bay, is my understanding. I'll be following up with him regarding some other types of committees that might have spots as well, where he may better serve us on a different committee if he's so interested. As far as citizens being willing to serve on a committee, I believe, Janelle, that's the only recent occurrence we have of somebody contacting the village office, correct?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, new village board business items. Number 1, discussion regarding the provisions of the draft of the memorandum of agreement that pertains to the Door County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. I'm going to turn this over to our administrator.
Yes, so the Door County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan is something that is, involves multiple communities within Door County. Its strategic goal is to capture any federal funding and grants that may be available to us in the event that a disaster occurs. This is a committee that I am serving on. We did meet on June 10th. There was the Village of Ephraim, the Village of Egg Harbor, the City of Sturgeon Bay, and myself, and included as well as Dan Kane, who's the Director of the Emergency Management Department, Mariah Good, and Becky Kerwin. Basically, at our first meeting, we just highlighted and went through the list of any type of disasters that may occur in Door County. And we talked about the MOA that's in the packet. The MOA is simply just the agreement for the Village of Sister Bay to participate in this multi-jurisdictional plan, and I will continue to participate in the meeting.
Okay. So I was curious, there are a couple of our neighbors here in the county mentioned, but there are others that are not. Has everybody been reached out to and some just haven't expressed interest, or?
I believe so. At the meeting, it sounded like the county was focusing on villages and the cities to kind of support this plan, as the funding would be focused towards us, not towns, just because of our appointed officials like administrators being able to serve.
So are you looking?
So we're looking at seeing a draft of the plan in October or November. Does that mean for all the participating villages
Correct.
or cities to review it at that time?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that's something we're drafting now.
I don't think we need any type of a motion at this time. Correct, Bo? Or Denise?
You would just need a motion to approve the MOA, and then I can sign it and we can submit that.
Okay, let's let Denise has a question first.
Is this the same thing we did a year or two ago, and that they were going to be updating it, and that's why that the village implemented an emergency management plan, but because of COVID, we have not met because there was already an emergency here and took all the resources. Next time you meet, can you talk to Dan about his workload and see where we are, and if sometime in the near future that group can start meeting?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you.
And to clarify, this plan has to be renewed every 5 years. We can have our own committee like we do. This would just be that multi-community jurisdiction that would oversee this.
Right.
I can reach out to him.
Thank you.
So we need a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Berto, second by Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Report on county activities from the county supervisor, Dave Leno.
Just so you know, Dave Leno had a doctor's appointment I was just made aware of, so he will not be able to attend the meeting. He may be able to join later into the meeting.
Denise?
Dave was going to update us on what the county did according to the health emergency or the emergency, which was going to dictate, or maybe not dictate, but help us make a decision on what Sister Bay was going to do. Do we know what the county did?
My knowledge.
I do not.
I don't either.
I know Bo has some information on essentially the turning off of the spigot of funds that are available, whereby
Correct. So-
part of us continuing had been related to being able to get funds if they continue to keep flowing. But I think Bo's going to give us some more detail on that when we get to the particular agenda item.
If you're okay with it, I can just make the comment now that the
Sure.
American Rescue Plan funds are being dispersed at this moment. So Tasha has been reaching out to allocate those resources to us. To my knowledge, I don't believe there's any more additional funding besides the rescue plan that would be coming our way. So that was what we were waiting on as far as our declaration of health emergency goes. So now that that's in the process of coming to us, I don't foresee any other additional funding coming our way.
Okay.
So would you go a step further and to say then that would be a reason not to extend the emergency mandate or order or whatever we have?
Based off of the last meeting, it would be staff's recommendation. Yes, the only reason we kept it going was for that funding in case any funding were to come
Correct.
or we weren't able to access that funding at this time.
Okay.
I would agree with your statement too, Pat. Denise?
Is it possible that you could text Dave and just get an answer on what the county did?
That's what I was doing.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along to number 3. Discussion regarding the provisions of the draft of the tax collection agreement between the Village of Sister Bay and the County of Door. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. Tasha?
I make a motion to approve. Why are you laughing?
I'll second.
Motion by Berto, second by Bell. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion
Anything
carried.
you want-
Tasha, thank you.
Sounds good.
Anything you want to say?
It's all in the report.
Yeah.
We trust you, Tasha.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
While we still have you, Tasha, on the spot, we'll go to number 4, review of the financial statements and consideration of a motion to approve the monthly bills. I would just reference one quick point on the topic of the bills. As trustees will recall, we discussed at a prior meeting, having Bo lead a monthly examination of what exactly our legal bills are for and what's generating them. He's done a fine analysis of that. If you would subtract out, if you look at the month of May and you would subtract out the situation related to Pebble Beach development, half of the expenses were zoning question plan commission related. Bo's done a detailed analysis on what, why they were all justified and necessary. And there's very little just general staff inquiries to legal counsel. The times when they have done so is very pertinent to a particular timely matter at hand. So if anyone has any interest in reviewing this, I'll make sure that it's available in the office. I can tell you, I'm very pleased to see, the supporting detail and what it shows, that everything appears to be running along very well and not anything unnecessary. Denise?
I did not talk to Tasha before the meeting, so I do have a couple of questions if she can answer them. On page 39, under card member service, Master Academy Alcohol Tobacco, $265.
Right, so that was a course for Heidi, I believe, to take.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions for Tasha on the monthly bills?
I'm scrolling down to see if I had other ones. The Jerry's Flowers bill, I was up there twice, Tasha. Did you get two separate bills or did they?
They send it as a statement.
Okay,
No.
because the second time was the actual day of planting and I think I got like one more flat. I didn't know if that was
Okay.
included or not. Okay,
I'll double check for you.
okay. Not that it really matters. I think I'm way under budget.
Yes, you are.
Although the RFPs are going out for the big stuff, so, okay. Those were my only questions.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move we approve.
Second,
Motion by Nino, second by Duffy. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, discussion regarding potential extension of the Village of Sister Bay's declaration of public health emergency. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. Do we have any further comments regarding ceasing the extension or not ceasing the extension and continuing it forward?
Bo, did you get an answer from Dave?
I called and left a voicemail and I texted
Okay.
him as well. I have not heard. I'm just going through any emails just to see if there's any other updates. I don't have a new update at this time.
I guess at this point, I'd go either way. It doesn't really seem to matter. We've been doing it for a long time, but I feel like with where everything's going, stadiums are full capacity. I don't know if it's, I don't think anything's going to come from it. And if something does, it means there's another widespread pandemic and there'll be an opportunity to declare it again.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought. But
Good point.
I'll agree.
Yes, let's hope that we don't turn into Britain.
Yes.
Because of the bad
Okay.
Ethan accents or?
Pardon?
I think she's talking about the declining empire in the 20th century and that whole thing. I think that would be a sticky wicket to go through again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nate, for clarifying that. Yes,
Useless
that's
monarchy,
exactly what I was
so many-
talking about.
So many reasons not to be Britain.
So do we need a motion to cease extending the declaration?
Yes.
We do?
I thought we would just not renew it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would just
Yes,
expire.
actually, that's very, yes, that's true. You just could let this die out. You don't need a motion.
Okay.
to
Because it goes until June 30th.
Okay,
Really?
Vivian,
do it that way. That's fine.
Yeah.
Vivian, you had your hand up?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing that, yeah, I want this to go bye-bye.
Okay, all right, we'll just let it, pass away then.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Item number 6, review of new and renewal license requests by village businesses, including liquor, beer, wine, soda, tobacco, and operators servers licenses. Consider a motion for action as appropriate. Heidi.
Do you want to have Denise ask her question first?
Yes, I will defer to you and say, Denise, please ask your question.
Well, because I will be recusing myself from the vote, but there was something that I noticed reviewing the documentation, and it had to do with the Door Hotel. And on social media, there was a picture of Jackson Parr, who used to write for the Pulse, bartending outside in a portable bar, but he is not on the license list, but yet he's already been bartending.
So they can have a licensed operator on premise. It doesn't mean that every person who is bartending has to be licensed. So if someone was overseeing him, that is permitted.
He was the only person outside.
But if,
I understand exactly how it works, and it just has to be somebody on premise, but I think that's, and I know
Well,
what
I'm sorry, I can follow up with them because right now the only licensed operator there, other than Chris as agent, is Amy as the manager. So I will make sure that they get more applications.
Okay. So I will recuse myself from this point on of all conversation and voting.
Denise, I assume I should do the same thing since I have a stake. I will do the same.
I have a general question and comment that I'm interested in some feedback on. Looking through the supporting detail in the packet, it appears that there are quite a few businesses who are renewing their license, who are making it clear we didn't have the 150 days operational because of the impact of the pandemic. Okay, which to me signifies they were closed or had such limited restrictions that they couldn't successfully open. There's also one letter in particular in here that says they were unable to operate due to a lack of employees in the area. And they do reference the J1 program being interrupted because of the pandemic. But then they again reference, it made help difficult to find. My question is, do we need to be, I'm not looking to turn somebody down, but do we need to clarify, perhaps moving forward, that a lack of being able to get employees doesn't seem like a justifiable reason that somebody was not able to operate their 150-day license? Because my concern would be, let's say there's somebody out there in the community who's absolutely ready, willing, and able and wants to run a business with this type of a license, and they're ready to do it, but there's not a license available to them, but we've extended somebody else's license because they said, well, we just couldn't get enough people to work last year. Do you guys get where I'm going with that?
I think what you're saying is it's okay if it's because of the pandemic, but if it's because of an employee situation, that's not. And I think I agree with you, Rob, that is not a legitimate reason. If you said it was the pandemic and that hindered the employees, well, I'm still going to say it's the pandemic. I think saying it's the employee issue is not. I agree with you, if I'm understanding you right.
Yes.
Okay.
Vivian?
Okay. I think there's a difference between people who couldn't be open the minimum number of days last year versus the one business who is saying they don't intend to open this year either because of employee problems.
Yeah, and that's
a completely different issue.
And that's part of this too, is do we,
Yeah.
Are we, I don't think we can extend licenses for people who are saying, I'm just not going to open, or I can't find people to work.
I'm not sure I know which business you're referring to that's not planning on being open this year at all.
Which one are you? Yeah, now see, Pastavino's letter that I'm looking at, the letter doesn't stipulate that they're not going to be open this year, but They are the ones that say we were unable to operate as usual last season due to the lack of employees in our area.
Well,
We
their
were-
advertising early in the year basically said that CHOP had already opened, Lure was going to open, which they have. And then
Mhm.
they had I don't know, but they had a tentative month for the opening of Pastavino. That has disappeared from their advertising. And if you go in and ask them, they'll say they don't intend to open Pastavino because they can't get employees this year.
Denise?
I know I'm not going to comment, but the conversation is going sideways here. To clarify, a beer and wine license, anybody can get that.
Okay.
So just
Okay.
because you give it to them and they may or may not open this year, but last year from the pandemic was one thing. But anybody can get those. They are not restricted because it is not the liquor.
Okay.
Okay,
So it's not withholding any other business from getting a license.
Okay.
okay.
Thank
So
you.
Class B and Class C, anyone can get anytime.
Correct, Heidi?
Pretty much. Class C is a little bit more picky, but yeah, Class B, pretty much anyone can get.
Okay. All right,
Thanks for
well,
the clarification.
I appreciate that being clarified. Thank you very much. Do we want to move forward with a motion then on this?
So let me just explain a little bit about the format I gave you this year. You'll notice that there are not the 100 pages of renewal applications in your packet, and I hope you're okay with that. I only gave you those that were unique in some circumstance. So on page 49 of the board report, we have two brand new businesses looking for licenses. Little Vegas, which will be a gaming studio in Country Walk, and Ecology Sports wants to start serving beer out of their business on Bayshore Drive. They're brand new, looking for beer licenses this year. Little Vegas is also asking for a tobacco license. And then they're both applying for soda licenses. There's been a couple of requests for changing agents. That would be Fat Belly. One of the partners was bought out, so they needed a new agent. And Country Walk BP had a retirement and they needed a new agent. So Lisa's taking over in that role. Those were really the only differences other than the usual, here are the renewals, same businesses looking for the same licenses year after year. So I'm hoping you'd be open to making just one motion to approve all of the license requests as they're presented. If not, I do have a recommendation on those pages, letting you know what each category is and how it's laid out. I'm not sure if you have questions about this format, or if this doesn't work for you, I can try something different in the future. I was just hoping to streamline the process a little bit when it comes to license renewals, because mostly it's the same people asking for the same licenses year after year after year.
I personally am fine with it, Heidi.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. As long as we understand the differences, I think if it's the same old, that's fine.
Okay.
I feel the same way.
Okay, so then does somebody want to make this motion? That the village board approves all the applications for Class A and Class B. Shiloh, she sees a.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Motion by Baker, second by Nino. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. We'll consider Shiloh's barking a motion to approve. Okay.
Good idea, Heidi. Thank you.
Yeah, that was excellent, Heidi. Thank you very much. Item number 7, discussion regarding the recommendation from the Plan Commission that the village board pass and adopt resolution number 462-061-52021 that formally approves Dennis and Lisa Voigt's request to allow the creation of a CSM that splits parcel number 1810008312822Z, which has been assigned addresses of 2431 South Bayshore Drive and 2439 South Bayshore Drive into 2 lots. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. Bo?
Yep. So this is a pretty basic CSM. This one would be splitting the property into 2 lots, making the BC gas station and the Eagle dry cleaning, 2 separate lots. They are trying to sell the lots, and as originally as one, they were having a difficult time getting any buyers on the hook. So the realtor offered the suggestion of splitting them into 2. So that is what you see before you in the packet.
I have a question, and this came up, it has the same similar thing on plan, but I guess I'd like a little bit more detail. There is a bike path that goes in front of that property, and it is the one part of the bike path that's not lined up with the rest of it. I understand this isn't the time to get that corrected, but when is the appropriate time, and can we let people, who's responsible for that? The next person to purchase it, the village?
I believe we maintain that bike path, so that would be something the village would have to take up. And as far as a timing perspective goes, if it's repaving or correcting anything, we should address that into 2022 budget.
Okay, I would really like to see that in there, because when you're going down the path, what happens is that is pavement that is directly behind the curb. Everything else, there's green between that and the highway. So if you look at it, you can look at an aerial, you'll see it is goofy.
Yeah, that's fine. We can talk about that.
Okay.
Any other comments? Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion, Rob.
I'll second.
Except for CSM.
Motion to approve by Baker, second by Bell. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 8, discussion regarding the recommendation from the Parks, Properties and Streets Committee that the village board accept the proposal that was submitted by the Door County Highway Department for the work depicted on the RFP issued by the Village of Sister Bay Road Reconstruction Resurfacing Projects on May 14th, 2021, in the amount of $130,000 and $130,560 as presented. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. Bo?
Motion by Berto.
Second.
Motion by Berto, second by Bell. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9, discussion regarding the recommendation from the Parks, Properties and Streets Committee that the village board accept the proposal that was submitted by Martel Construction for the work depicted on the RFP issued for the Village of Sister Bay Swim Dock Repair Project on May 14th, 2021. In the amount of $76,900 as presented. Consider a motion for action if appropriate.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion to approve by Berto, second by Baker. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Just to comment on that quickly, I know a lot of people were asking. Martel can come and do the swim dock repair starting on the 21st of June, which means they will be complete before the 4th of July, weather permitting.
Excellent.
Okay, did that comment actually intercede our approval, Janelle?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to approve and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. The one time I didn't reference Bo jumping in because I knew Denise was all ready to start the motion, and and then it cost me. All right. Item number 10, discussion regarding and confirmation of the village president's recommended citizen committee and commission appointments. Consider a motion for action if appropriate. I just have 2 comments on this right now. I had a discussion with Chad about the potentially adding someone to the ad hoc land acquisition committee. He feels very confident that the committee does not need any other members. He does request that the administrator, the plan commission chair, and the president be available to not just attend, but participate in the next meeting.
And any other board member too. I don't have another meeting date because it was supposed to be this Thursday, and I really need to sit down with Bo and Janelle and go over their schedule before I pick a date that doesn't work again. But yeah, we're kind of talking about, well, here, I'll give an update when we give an update on it.
Yeah, we'll deal with that during the committee reports, but I just wanted everyone to have a heads up on that. Also, we have a recommendation from the Parks Committee that the village enact an ad hoc Green Tier Community Committee. As trustees may be aware, for some time, there has been significant interest at committee member and trustee levels to move forward with trying to attain green tier community status for the village. We had a presentation that had been some months in organizing at the last Parks meeting. In that regard, I am recommending to the board that we approve the creation of a ad hoc green tier community committee at this time, including myself and Sharon Dorshing, and that together we will move forward with the trustees and other community leaders to further develop and shape that committee. So that is my recommendation. Does anyone have any comments or?
I think it's good.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve the creation of the ad hoc green tier community committee?
I will make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Nino, second by Kodenko. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Report from our village administrator on village activities and projects.
Yes, so the waterfront park sprinklers, I got a lot of calls about the condition of the grass. Obviously, we haven't had a significant downpour in a while. Obviously, Monday or Sunday we did. To update everyone, the sprinkler systems were down. They were not working in the Marina Park or in the waterfront park area. Dan ordered a part some time ago, I believe in April, and it took a while for shipping. There was major shipping delays. The part did come. The part is in and the sprinklers are working. I did talk to Dan and we did order a backup pump system in case we ever have this kind of failure again. That way we don't have to wait on any material or parts. Dan told me it should take about a week or two, depending on the weather, to bring that grass back to its normal condition. The volleyball nets are up. I know I had a trustee ask about that. I put a little excerpt in about the Pebble Beach grant update. Chad and I did meet with a representative of the DNR, the land trust, as well as a friend of the land trust who has worked with the Knowles Nelson grant process before, and kind of explained to us our next steps and our next course of action. And Chad and I believe we have a pretty solid plan to keep moving forward, but obviously Joint Finance Committee at the state level is working on the budget right now. So we're being a little patient. I'm anticipating or foreseeing at least a 3-month delay in the process to find out what the result is. And we're going to do as much as we can to see the best outcome come out of this grant process. So I just wanted to let everyone know. Chad, I don't know if you had anything else to add based on
basically we're going to put the fire to Kitchens and Jacques and we're going to make them look really stupid, is how we're going to do it if they don't start fighting for us. So they're not going to their chairs. They're not doing their job fighting for Door County. And, you know, I have a buddy, he's the editor of the Wisconsin State Journal. He would love to write a great article about Pebble Beach and about the Knowles Nelson. And it would be a great article to end with, but. And so we got a plan in place, but we're gonna, you know, I'm gonna sit with both of those guys and try to explain our plan before the plan goes into place. So maybe they'll actually do their jobs. Because the money's there. There's not a more worthy cause. You know, but yeah, that's kind of the gist of it.
Okay. Denise, did you have a question for us?
And this is all because that there were 2 anonymous objections to the price.
Correct.
And from how we described it, this is kind of normal. This happens pretty frequently. I can't remember the number with the application that has to go in next, that it's a review. And at some point that will happen. Whether we say something or not, more than likely it will still happen, and they'll bring it up. And then once it's brought up, they'll vote on it and decide on it, but they don't necessarily seem to move too fast for these things. So we have to kind of prompt them to push for this. And it may turn out where we get all the money, it may turn out maybe they give us half the money, but you know, at some point it looks like they'll do something. It just doesn't seem like they're really fast moving on this.
Yeah, a quick summary is there's several people on the Joint Finance Committee that are not fans of the Knowles Nelson grant program in general. So they, you know, that they can anonymously object and they choose to do so every time. And there's just another step in the process for everyone to go through. So
It's very political, basically.
yeah, but
Okay.
we'll do what we can. Moving on. Just a staffing update. Staff did conduct interviews for the vacant parks maintenance position on Monday. I can announce that we did offer the full-time position to an existing employee who was part-time, Spencer Champeau. And we will be backfilling that employee with another candidate that we interviewed who has a lot of experience and is currently working part-time maintenance for the city of Sturgeon Bay. His name is Peter Lauscher, and he will be starting, I believe, in the next week. It's part-time. Moving on, the wastewater treatment plant update. We are still scheduled to be completed by nearing end of July. The upgrade is pretty much nearing completion. We're just working on some smaller details at this point. I'm working with Charter to start the cabling for the internet upgrade. I've not heard from them. They're still going through their permitting process. And we are still scheduled to meet, and we plan on doing a tour slash walkthrough of the plant with trustees, members of the USDA, and other invited guests that the USDA may bring. I will invite the trustees and send out an invitation before we schedule that, just to let everyone know and give everyone a heads up. If you're able to attend, it would be worth a walkthrough. There's a lot of changes at that plant. And then lastly on here, I just wanted to let the trustees know I did meet with Marissa Downs. Jared from Robert E. Lee joined me, as well as her engineer. We are working on some site plans and just any other type of preliminary plans to be brought before Plan Commission. And part of that is the infrastructure layout. We're working on that side of things with Marissa. She's planning for approvals in the fall and groundbreaking in the spring at this rate.
Okay, good.
Oh, you're muted, Rob.
Trying to counteract the parakeets. Thank you, Bo. Moving on to committee reports. Administrative Committee one-on-one job description work with Bo continues. Communication Technology Committee.
We have not met since then. We do need to have a conversation about the VoIP.
Yep, we'll schedule one soon, Nate.
Okay.
Coastal Byways.
Has not met. Ribbon cutting Thursday at 1:30, Lakeside Park in Jacksonport. You're all welcome.
DCEDC.
Hasn't met since the last time we had a meeting.
Okay. Ad Hoc Emergency Management Plan Committee. Has not met, I believe. Finance Committee. Has not met, I believe, since last meeting.
Nope.
Fire Commission, Fire District Exploratory has not met. It is my understanding that Chief Hecht is close to a decision, if it hasn't already come, as to who he intends to name as the committee chair in replacing Lou, now that Lou has moved on. So Pat and I will probably have an update for everyone next month on that.
Okay.
Ad Hoc Friends of Pebble Beach Committee.
We met, came to Parks with a plan for having a Friends of Pebble Beach, fundraising arm, which will be hopefully rolling out shortly. Just kind of, everybody's so busy right now, so getting the logo developed and getting all that stuff. But we're working on it. If you go down there, you'll notice some improvements to the parking situation. Had a friend do a solid with an IOU from me that I promised I'd raise enough money to at least pay for his services. If not, I would pay for them. So Parks, we need to have maybe put some barricades to make sure they don't roll down that swale by Fred and Fuzzy's. But if you go out there, it's a good start.
You're
Yeah.
a good man, Chad.
Looks
Well,
great out there.
there's some good people that are very helpful in this community, and I'm just lucky that I have some friends. Any questions?
Thank you, Chad.
Keep up the good work.
Historical Society, Scott, do we have an update on Fred Johnson?
The last that I heard, he is out of the hospital. He is in a rehab hospital, riding a bike and doing some things. So it's going to be a long recovery. It was a fairly severe heart attack. So he's on the right path.
If you happen to have any kind of contact information for him and could email it to me, I would greatly appreciate it to
Will do.
send him a card. Thank you.
We did have a meeting on the 3rd. Discuss the budget and some other things, this Christmas market they're talking about. On the subject of the barn, we made no motions or anything, but it's just seeming there's too much going on. There's too little money. So I don't know that at that meeting that the barn was going to go anywhere. And then shortly before tonight's meeting, I got an email from John Fletcher, who has taken Fred's place. And he has had a discussion with Crane today. And he told him that the Historical Society can't afford the $300,000 roughly to move the barn. There's going to be wires that have to come down and all those things, a foundation to be laid. So it sounded like Crane didn't want to take no for an answer. So he's going to be talking to his construction crew and possibly make a few phone calls, as he put it. So it may still be up in the air. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I was just gonna wait till you were done, Scott.
Okay, that's pretty much all I have.
So a $300,000 price tag is not just for moving.
No, it is.
Oh.
It is a new foundation. It is going to be wires that have to come down. I guess the way they're looking at across the golf course to Country Lane, and they'll be going down there. There's overhead wires that are going to have to come down. That's tacking on somewhere around 80,000, I believe. So
Oh.
yeah. And getting WPS there on time. That's the other thing. So, but I will just keep you informed.
Thank you, Scott.
Is there anything that the village could do? Tasha's still on, not that we have to dive into this, but I would hate to see this lost. But as conversations continue, that, like the village loaned the marina some money, when they needed it, and they're paying it back, over a period of time. Is there any kind of assistance that may be helpful to the Historical Society on something of that nature?
That's a tough question to me, because the difference between the marina and the Historical Society is the marina is
An enterprise fund.
an enterprise fund and makes money. The Historical Society is a nonprofit to which we provide support every year to keep them going. So that would require some thought.
There-
Right,
Especially
and
if
I'm
you
not
do
saying we have to
$1,000.
dive into it now, and it may
Yeah.
not be an option. And not necessarily even maybe for the whole amount, but I just thought if there was something that we could assist with that would work. So that's all I was asking.
Denise, there was some talk at the meeting about, quote, going public, about some kind of fundraisers or donations or things like that that could assist. So that is being kicked around.
Scott, what's the time frame?
Well, he wanted that out by July. So that's pretty short.
I'd go public like tomorrow.
Yeah, Well, that's what we've talked about. And that's the only way I think this is gonna happen. I think that's why Crane was gonna talk to his construction crew about seeing if they could push things back to make his spread that window.
Well, what's he approved for construction wise?
The crane development,
Yeah, they're not approved for anything, right?
they are not.
No.
They don't have approval for plans, but they have the condition. They've only showed us preliminary plans. They haven't had any approval on site
Yeah.
plan.
So they're not starting to build in July. I mean, there's no way.
No, they couldn't.
Yes, Denise.
One other thing, Scott, I think every volunteer organization is short of volunteers, and the same people end up doing all of the work. What I have noticed over the past couple of years is that you have a lack of somebody with a marketing background to help you get the word out. And I think that was the problem when you guys wanted to build the $1 million barn. People didn't even know that, you were doing that. So I guess I'm not speaking for her, but I'm saying maybe you could contact Louise at SBAA and maybe she could assist the Historical Society with a path on marketing.
Okay, they have brought a John Nelson. Are you familiar with John? Works for the Pulse.
I
Yes,
don't
I
believe,
know who he is.
I don't believe that he works for the Pulse.
No, I'm pretty sure he doesn't.
I think you're talking about the John Nelson from the Door Guide.
Perhaps, but anyway, we brought him aboard and he brought a Donna Fearing aboard who's doing our Facebook social media out there. So there is some movement there on the marketing side,
Okay, maybe it's not the right marketing.
perhaps.
So I'm sure she would talk to you. Whether or not she can assist, I don't know.
Okay,
But she is a huge source to tap.
okay.
You say she's loud?
She is loud.
She is great at what she does. She really
She
is.
is.
Okay,
Okay.
Janelle has just sent me a text message. We have now set a historical record in the history of the village of Sister Bay. This is the longest committee report from the Historical Society that we've ever had, and we appreciate it. We like setting records.
And it's the Historical Society.
All right, thank you, Scott. Ad hoc Ice Rink Committee has not met. Ad hoc Land Acquisition Committee, Chad.
Yeah, to going on what Rob said, I would really like any board member to be there. The last meeting, we had a great meeting. We had some professionals, I'd say, in about affordable housings. We know we believe that should be a component. We understand that the number one thing for this property is to protect village interests. So I think our next meeting will be to focus on the village view of it. And that way it'll bring a lot of our board members into, our world, so to speak. And my thought would be, and I hate to do this, like tonight would have been a great time, but what would you think about having that meeting be at 5 o'clock before a village board meeting? And, it doesn't even have to be that long. I mean, I don't let these meetings go past an hour because I feel like you just lose your efficiency. So we could probably wrap it up in 30, 45 minutes just to talk about the village component, just to get your guys' input for us. Would you guys be open to that?
Sure.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so maybe
I'm open to it. I would just like to throw in the caveat that I think we really need to be dynamic and big picture in our thinking on this. And so, I'm certainly in tune with everyone is saying, an hour beforehand to do it, but from my standpoint, we may lay some great groundwork for future discussion, but I'm not convinced that in 30 to 40 minutes, we can put to bed and put to rest the involvement of trustees in the matter.
I think having meetings before meetings like that is a bad idea. It doesn't give you a chance to have them take their natural course. It may only take a half hour, it might take more than an hour. And it drives me nuts when you have a meeting that runs into another meeting and you have people waiting for it. But in any case, if it's at 5 o'clock, I won't make it. So
Yeah, it's,
won't be there
well,
to complain.
that's a good point from both of you. Yeah, we're so far away from having a plan. It's more to just get input at this point. We got input on affordable housing, some ideas. We're not, I mean, this is going to be a process. So it's more to get maybe the key points from the village as to what the village, what we need, whether it's parks building, whether it's an administrative building, whether it's how much for the sewer plant we need. We're so far away from, you know, this being anything that I hear what you're saying, Rob, but there'll be lots of this going on, and there'll be, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, we're just going to give some recommendations, and then more than likely we're going to turn this over to an outside firm to design it, work with us on it. I mean, that was the plan of this. It's not for us to decide it. You guys are going to live with it. I mean, think of all the comprehensive plans done in the past that have never been followed through on. So, I mean, you know, take it for what it's worth. I definitely agree with big picture stuff, but if you don't want to do it before a meeting, I also get that too. I don't like them when they carry into another meeting. That's pretty annoying.
Matt?
So I think you bring up a good point of if there are committees or departments that might see a benefit or a need out of that land. I think we should, on all our next committee or department meetings, pose that question to those individual committees, that they would have the opportunity to hear from staff and the committee talk, that can roll back up through committee minutes or to that meeting. I wouldn't anticipate, like, for instance, utilities having a need, but I think that's a great idea. It's contiguous land. If for some reason there is, somebody at utilities or whoever should be talking about that and say, yeah, let's earmark whatever.
I think that's a great idea, actually. So maybe everybody in their committees this next month, put that on the agenda to talk about,
Okay.
you know, your committee's perceived needs or whatever. That's a really good idea. And like I said, everybody's busy in summer anyway. So for us to push this meeting off a little bit isn't gonna, you know, bother anybody. So I like that. That's a great idea.
Okay.
And then I'll pick a time, you know, I'll consult with you guys and I'll pick a time that isn't leading into a board meeting. Because they're not all gonna be an hour long like this. We know that. So
Okay. Thanks, Chad.
perfect. Thank you, guys.
Denise?
Chad, could you give me some clarification from something that's in the minutes? It's on page 97. You were stated as that you're aware of a number of individuals who do not make big bucks, but still do not qualify for any of the affordable housing that is currently available in Northern Door. And Pastor Honig responded that the housing partnership's target client is not someone who is considered low income. Their target client would be considered middle income. Did he give, what does that actually mean?
Well, I think
Middle income.
what I brought up is my parents had rented in Blackstone on a market rate, right? There was 2 available at a market rate. They very fixed income, retired. They did not, I mean, you know, their combined income was what maybe one employee at Husby's makes in a year. Most of our employees wouldn't have qualified to live there. So, and the housing options for them, they need affordable housing. So I just wanted to try to understand more, even with this other development going, you know, happening, what those income barriers are, because I know we look at those medians in the county and there's a need for low income for sure, but there's plenty of people in the service industry that make well over that threshold that wouldn't qualify, and they still don't have places to live.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's more of us to focus on year-round, you know, workforce housing, you know, families, you know, people that are here year-round, and if, you know, and a lot of those people are making a good wage, it's just not a good enough wage to buy a house in Door County.
Okay, all
I
right.
think I've heard this
I know.
referred to as Alice before, and I did have to look this up. I didn't remember it off the top of my head. Asset limited income constrained employed. That's what DCEDC, I remember Caleb Crossman talking about it many years ago.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Library Commission, Vivian.
We have not met because we were told we could not meet in person. And there are a couple things we need to do where we have to meet in person, so we rescheduled it for after this meeting when we were told we could meet in person.
Okay, were you saying that you were told you could not meet in person by the Library Commission or by?
The library was told, I believe by Bo.
Yep, so Rob, I can clarify that. Just because we were under the declaration of health
Mhm.
emergency, we were
Right.
following the standard. I wanted the village board to discuss and let the village board agree to how they want committees to proceed.
Well, now that we are going to let the declaration of emergency expire on its own at the end of June, I think it's appropriate that committee chairs move forward with establishing meetings beginning in July to the manner in which they see fit, and we proceed accordingly. Does anyone disagree with that or have any
Does that mean
alternative?
we still cannot meet in person?
No, that means that it would be up to,
Okay,
you know, your committee chair to decide, you know, and to move forward. I think if we're allowing the renting of village gathering spaces,
right.
then we should, upon the natural termination of the declaration beginning in July, allow meetings. Right?
I would
I'm
agree.
still
I think there's
confused about what that
benefits
means
in person. Yeah.
between now and the first. of
Well, what it
July.
means is between now and the 1st of July, work on with your committee on scheduling a July meeting. And then if
Okay,
you
what
have to,
happens in the meantime?
well, what do you
Can
have
we
that's
meet,
so,
can we meet in person tomorrow?
what kind of business can't wait until July 1st? As far as that needs to be done in person that you couldn't meet via Zoom between now and the 30th of June and establish.
Okay. We have a donation of a sculpture for the garden, and
Mhm.
we wanted to walk the garden together to decide if we accept the donation, where we would put the sculpture. There's a new access ramp that we wanted to look at. We can't do that, either of those very well Zoom.
Okay, but that's not meeting in an interior of a village building. That's just an outdoor, you're having an outdoor gathering.
Okay,
So you could amass behind the library, proceed with your outdoor goings on, and then somebody can take minutes on it, and then you can set a time at that point to reconvene inside the library in July, right? Would that be feasible?
difficult. And I believe with everything else that's going on in person, with the Door County Health Department's recommendation that basically anybody who's immunized can do anything. There wasn't anything that they had on that list that if you're immunized that you couldn't do without a mask. So if we're willing even to mask indoors.
Okay, but
And-
we're jumping the gun here. You said
I know.
you needed to meet before July 1st because of activities that have to happen outside. So
Right,
my
so we
question is,
rescheduled them.
cannot you proceed with setting up an outdoor only meeting between now and June 30th? And then at the conclusion of that meeting, figure out when you're gonna move inside for July.
So we can meet outside tomorrow.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, we'll just do that then.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Marina Committee.
Question, Rob?
Oh, yes, Denise.
Sorry. I don't know how the library can have an official meeting tomorrow when there's posting notices.
Well, all right, I guess then let's clarify something. I align, or I consider this walkthrough of the grounds that Vivian is noting to be similar to the walking through of the parklands by the Parks Committee, which
Yeah, we still have to post it.
I believe it was posted because it's scheduled. It's been scheduled.
Okay,
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 so let's.
So we're just,
Vivian-
instead of going inside the library, we'll have the meeting outside.
okay.
So how about if you work with, double check with Janelle tomorrow to make sure.
It has been posted.
Okay, it has been posted, so then you're ready to go, Vivian. You can just run the show outdoors.
Okay.
All right? Excellent. Pat, Marina?
We've had a couple of meetings. Minutes are in the packet. Everything is off and running smoothly.
Excellent. Scott, Marina Fest.
Marina Fest meets Thursday.
Excellent. Parks, properties and streets, a couple things for everyone to be aware of. As I mentioned, we did approve renting of the village gathering spaces. We approved the interior use of the village hall for the Lego Brick Party on the Bay, July 24th and 25th, for the Festival of Fine Arts on August 14th. We approved Fall Fest. And we, regarding Freedom Fest on July 10th, we approved it to include the Lions Club food and beverage vending. We also said that we will be doing our annual walking tour of the parklands in September post Labor Day. Personnel Committee will be meeting within the next couple weeks. Plan Commission, Denise.
Minutes are in the packet. Does anybody have any questions?
SBAA, the 2021 dining charts, visitor brochures, and village maps have been distributed. SBAA is scheduling a special executive session to draft the agreement with the village to present at the July Parks meeting. Tourism zone. I alerted our administrator to be on the lookout for two important documents. One is a letter to municipalities and the other is an intergovernmental agreement. They run in tandem and both will need to be adopted by us as written. They pertain to the collection of room tax funds and the ability of the zone to enforce the collection. Utilities Committee has not met. Youth Center met, elected officers as required. We have devised a plan for age category youth movie nights with pizza and treats. There'll be monthly off-season events. The elementary school, there'll be elementary school age kids in January, middle school age kids in February. Parents and kids will be polled at the movie nights as to whether we should do a slime fest in March or April. The promotion of the movie nights will include promotion at Gibraltar School, and that will allow the kids to vote on which movie to show based on the streaming service that SBAA has. There's a limited number of movies, so we'll present what's available and let the kids decide what to see. The committee will be reconvening at the beginning of November to move forward with all of that. Do we want a motion to accept all the committee reports, Janelle?
That.
I'll make
So
that.
moved.
motion, Rob.
Motion by Baker, second by Berto. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 12, consider a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851C to discuss personnel and employee benefits. Janelle, can you handle roll call for moving into closed session?
Baker,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Bertle,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes?
Peduncle,
yes.
Nino,
Yes.
and Zashki.
Zashki, yes, it will be trustees and our village administrator in this session.
did we actually have a motion and a second or just a roll call?
I don't think we had.
We need a motion in the
Oh.
second.
Excuse
I'll
me.
make the motion.
Okay, motion by Duffy,
Second,
second by Baker. All those in favor of going into
We've
close?
already done the roll call.
Yep,
Okay.
that's fine. We just needed the first and second.
Okay,
Okay. You know, I'll take over the recording after the meeting and I'll just send you the minutes after.
Okay, I'll stop it right here.